Hey, welcome to Skillcast. This is John again, the author of Skill Stigma. I got my friend here with me, Steve Harbolt, who I met as a student at Steamworks. We're getting ready to do the boiler operators test. Became a stationary engineer, right?
Stationary, yep.
Yeah. But beyond memorizing test questions, we had a lot of tremendous timing together in between the classes. I felt like you probably don't feel that way, but I did super feel like I was connected to you. One of the most significant things that you taught me that I have to bring up here on the front end
Yeah.
is that I had recently bought a Hyundai Santa Fe. It was the 2022, and on the handle of this Santa Fe, there's like that little button that's supposed to lock the doors.
Yeah.
In my old car, that also unlocked the doors.
Yes.
It doesn't do that on the Hyundai. Like there was something with the handle and I literally could not get into my own car, and Steve helped me. What was my issue?
Your issue was you kept hitting that button that locks it, but the handle itself is a two-part electronic mechanism. It has a sensor inside when you stick your hand
Yes.
in to pull the handle. That way you don't have to think about that button.
And the thing of it is that is the reason now that I think of you a couple times a week.
That's
Because I'm
good.
like, I can finally get in my car now. Thank you, Steve. One of the things about this podcast that we're really aimed at is trying to get stories like yours elevated to a point where we kind of get to track some of your history, your exposure to the skilled trades, your interaction with college, yes or no, or whatever you felt about it, right? And then like where you are now, and if rather the skilled trades are kind of giving you a life of stability, of happiness, of goal setting, of, feeling like future hope. With that, I want to start by asking you, like, what was like high school experience for you like?
The high school was good at the beginning, and I was that kid that would answer all the math questions in a different way
I was
than
gonna ask, what
everybody
was your
else.
favorite subject?
Yeah, it was math. And then as I got on, I was just like, I started to get tired of like, I'm doing this still after 11 years. I don't really care to do that work.
Yeah.
I'm not reading that book.
Yeah.
It doesn't interest me.
Mm-hmm.
So my grades declined. My passion at that time was photography since like, I don't know, 6th or 7th grade.
Yeah.
And
How did you get connected to that?
my mother's cousin had a husband who was a NASA photographer in Sandusky.
Oh, wow.
So
I was just there at that
Yeah?
site, actually.
nice.
Yeah, I took way less great pictures than he did.
Probably,
but
yeah. Most of his were set up. Anyway, he did like weddings on the weekends and stuff, and I just got kind of interested in that and went with him on a couple of weddings, and he showed me, the works for that. And another cousin of my mother's, who was in the oil industry, he did like buy, sell stuff for oil. Like,
Oh, okay.
I don't know exactly what he
So
did.
he had money.
I know
That's
he
what you're
was
trying
yeah,
to say. Like,
yeah.
it's well off.
But he lived in like the Pittsburgh area, I think
Okay.
it was. But
Yeah.
he had all this camera equipment that he had bought to just play around with, and then ended up buying some new stuff in the 90s. It just gave me everything he had. So
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm not locating how old you are at this time. Help me.
6th, 7th grade. So that was 96, 97, maybe 11, 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's formative. I know you got all this like good, a little bit old, a little bit used, but like good
Yeah.
stuff from good people.
Yeah, absolutely. And then my mom, she was always the person that would be encouraging for whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So she seen that I was doing all this photography stuff and then put me in classes for photography composition and
Like the city classes or something like that? Or
so a town 20 some miles from where I grew up. It's like a private art institute thing, or you can become a member of it.
yeah.
And they have classes you can buy into for whatever, 80 to 100 and $200, whatever. and just specific classes. So she put me in a black and white darkroom class. So I learned how to develop black and white film when I was 12 years old.
In the arts, I can connect with that. From the time I was 5 through my entire high school career, I was into music, doing a lot of like classical piano training, which really helped me in a lot of ways, I felt like. But at 12 years old, I'm definitely there, passionate about it, and working hard at it. Having extra classes outside of school where I'm not digging, do you remember having to diagram sentences in English class? Like that was the bane of my existence.
I failed English class 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah. I struggled through it and I really hated it. And I'm all the time sitting there thinking, this is not what I'm going to be doing anyways, because I'm really excited about music. I didn't do music now, but like at that time, right? So I'm trying to connect with you at that time. Your passion is photography. What did you think that was going to do? What were, some of the efforts or things you were doing to continue doing that, going to class?
Well, yeah, going to class.
Were you doing shoots and stuff?
I did a wedding with a buddy in high school.
And got real money for it?
Yeah, actually.
Man.
I screwed it up pretty bad, though.
Can we get some of those pictures?
Well, no, my old camera.
Okay.
At that time, it was a Minolta X700. It was like top of the line, all manual camera for like 1987 or something. So,
and this
is 2000, maybe 99.
In the camera world, like 15 years is like an eon.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because there's something new like every other year.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. What did you screw up so bad? Did not know who the bride and groom were?
It was filmed back then, so I couldn't immediately look at the picture on the back of the screen.
Yeah.
So every photo that came out that I developed was half a picture because my shutter only opened halfway. Yeah. For somebody's wedding. Yeah. Luckily enough, my buddy that was shooting with me had his own equipment.
Yeah.
So we used everything that he had.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
But he wasn't as good as you.
Did
you take the full amount of money?
We were equally crappy. I don't know. He dealt with all that shit. He gave me like, I don't know, $150 at the end of it. I think
that's kingly money in high school.
In high school, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I love it, man. That's getting your mind kind of thinking forward. You're working for yourself. You have a mom who's like being encouraging of it. And like I can also understand not really being into, the current classes that I'm in or the push that's on me in that way. So how was college connected to that? Negatively, positively, forced, interested? How was that for you? What were you thinking about at that time?
At that time, college was still this, prestigious if you go to college situation, and you had to have good grades to go to college. My mom wanted me to go to Rochester, New York, where Kodak Films were for 3 years, and wanted me to go to their photography college. But after I started being not interested in my high school classes and getting worse grades, I figured I wasn't going to be able to get into college, because you'd see it in movies and TV shows. Oh, I got the letter. They let me in. Like, okay, so to my adolescent brain at that time, I was like, oh, I got to be accepted into a college. I didn't know that you could just sign a paper and go, oh, I'll pay you later.
Yeah.
And get into multiple colleges.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Yeah.
So because you felt like it was partially unattainable for that passion in your life, how did that transition your mind into what's next?
My second passion was cars. Everything cars. Since I was a kid, well, my dad, he was a mechanic, and he worked for Honda of America Manufacturing in Marysville.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And
Ohio.
Yes, Marysville, Ohio. He did that since 1987, and I'd always seen him in the backyard. He'd built a giant garage on my childhood home property. And
what was it about that intrigued you, like that you liked?
everything. Like,
Yeah.
what wasn't? Like,
I don't know, because I had the
that's
same
what I'm saying,
experience and
like-
I hated it
like
from my dad. So I
the-
need to hear yours.
the
and bring it
way,
out.
well, it wasn't necessarily my dad. I just remember him always working.
Yeah.
And he was always working on a car, whether it was a customer's car that he picked up on side work, or my mom's car, his car, or, you know, a family member of some sort, helping them out. So, you know, I was just like, okay, well, I know a lot about cars.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my second option. Plan B.
When did Plan B become Plan A?
Around 2000, after I really botched up that wedding.
Half shutter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of got me.
So wait, you knew how to open up car doors, but not open the shutters all the way. That's
Well, yeah, it's a mechanical, you know, situation inside the camera that I couldn't,
that joke was for me. I'm sorry.
with the grades and the idea of not being able to be accepted to a college because of my grades. We had a tech career center in my town, and my dad went to that for automotive technology. And I was like, okay, my turn. Yeah. So the second half of my high school career, I was able to go there
Gotcha.
and excel.
How was your teacher?
First year teacher, he was, you know, he was old school.
Yeah.
And, you know, we all need that. He wasn't a bad teacher or nothing, but I really connected with the second year teacher. It kind of gets me choked up, but he had to retire early because he got some nerve damage. Couldn't hold a wrench.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I tried to take his place.
Yeah.
He pushed me towards teaching the next generation, and I was all for that. This was 6 years after I'd been in the automotive industry.
Yeah.
How
I
did
did.
you reconnect with him?
We just stayed connected the whole time. Yeah. After I'd gotten out of school, he had always said, oh, you know, once you guys are out of school, I'll come have a beer with you.
Yeah.
He came over to my house, had a beer with me.
Yeah.
After school, after I was graduated and everything. I always bounce things off of him still, like, that I get stuck on in the automotive industry.
Yeah.
But
You know, he's right about you. You're tremendous at teaching things and telling stories. You're tremendous at the work that you do. I've experienced it even of myself.
if I do something, I don't want to half-ass it.
Yeah.
But I got through to that, to the point of being hired. They said, you're hired.
In high school, you're talking about?
At the career center.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
So I went through all the process. They said, we'll send you to school to get your license to be a teacher.
Yeah.
Everything. And it came down to, here's your start date. And I said, I can't start on that date. That's my wedding day. And they're like, okay, we'll call the next guy. It was that simple for them.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
You know.
If I'd have gone down that path, I'd probably still be doing that.
That was when you were working with Hyundai, right?
That's when I was working with Honda at the time.
Okay. I don't want to skip over it. There was something between the time that you ended high school and you went to Hyundai.
I went to UTI, Universal Technical Institute for Automotive,
All right.
in North Carolina, Mooresville, North Carolina. Frank Snyder is his name. He was like, hey, you know, this is one of the better schools to go to further your education. I think you'd do great here. So I went, and it was a program of everything that has to do with cars, every part, and then NASCAR on the other side. So it was like 15-month program, something like that. And I did most of the core programs, and then didn't really care to do anything with the NASCAR because I never really, I grew up with road racing.
Yeah.
At Mid-Ohio in Lexington.
Okay.
So going in the circle over and over again didn't, I got to turn left and right.
Wasn't there a whole year that you took like a
Oh no,
break at some
no,
point?
there wasn't a year that I took a break. My mom wanted me to take a break
That's it.
and learn,
Oh yeah.
you know, where I wanted to be
Yeah. Yeah.
and what I wanted to do. But I thought I knew what I wanted to do.
How do you feel about that now?
I wish I had taken that opportunity, and, you know, when I didn't have a house payment and
Right.
kids and
Yeah. the last podcast we did, or a recent one anyhow, we were talking to this guy and he created that opportunity for himself. It just helped me to think so deeply about like how valuable that really, really is. I'd heard that. I kind of scoffed at it actually in high school, that people would be planning to do that to find themselves or whatever. And not that every single time that has happened has been helpful, but like he had a moment where he could strip away those responsibilities, bring in new kind of struggles, and it forced him to face himself. And he ended up jumping jobs the next few years, but it solidified some things about who he was. And that was the most important thing, I think, for him. Like, it created a nice career. So I didn't do it. I'm with you on that. I certainly didn't do it. I thought it was valuable just to know what I was going to do and go do that thing and get to working at it. I had to find out who I was along the way. Yeah, that was tough. But okay, so you got out of UTI.
I lived in a house that was directly behind the Hyundai dealership in the town that I lived in.
Okay.
It was like on the same property pretty much. Yeah, on their back lot. I was working for a liquor store at the time.
Yeah.
As a shift manager, just, yeah, go to whatever party that I was invited to afterwards. I just happened to see the service manager one day out there moving some cones or something right on the edge of my yard.
Yeah.
So I stopped and I was like, "Hey, you looking for a entry-level technician? Maybe. I don't know. Well, come on in and find out." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I'll come in." Went and took my son to the babysitters and then came back and talked to him about it. Oddly enough, he had been a technician with my dad back in the 80s.
Wow.
So he already knew my dad. He knew how good my dad was as a technician. And he's like, "Yeah, I think this is going to work out."
Yeah.
So pretty much job on the spot.
Amazing.
And I just started as an oil changer. Pretty much showed what I could do within a year, and they put me as a full-blown tech doing whatever they needed done.
Yeah.
Generally, in that industry, you're doing school a lot. It seems like they keep sending you to learn this and that.
Especially with dealerships, because they're attached to that manufacturer. So that manufacturer requires them to have training on a regular basis,
Right.
especially for new models. Like new models, if they don't have a trained technician, they can't sell that car.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I'd go maybe twice a year at least
Yeah.
to Hyundai school up in Aurora, Illinois, or Cincinnati.
Where did that head? How did that kind of dissolve? Or maybe the Honda thing, or you talked about just missing that because of your wedding date. Like, what I'm going to assume as a friend of yours, like, that played into it, right?
I got up to master certification status, and
What does that mean to somebody like me?
okay, so for instance, the boiler operator, you got 3 class for stationary steam engineers, right?
Right.
Okay, so that would be like me being able to run a huge power plant.
Yeah, anything and everything at that point. Okay.
I got to that status. I was still like making maybe 40 grand a year at that point, and was like, okay, so how do I get further? And the only way I could see getting further was that opportunity that was missed because of my wedding,
Yeah.
or become a manager of the service department or parts department.
Yeah.
And
So like more front end stuff.
yeah, not getting dirty, not turning wrenches, telling people, what work to do.
If you have two paths and one is you're at the top here and you want to make more money, and the other pathway towards more money is the front end, some people would say, I don't really care about this. I'm just going to choose the money. What was it about that path that you didn't want to go down? Does that make sense?
I did have 2 paths, actually, now that you mention it that way. Towards the end, I was either trying to make it into a service manager role or open my own shop. So I had my own shop
Right.
there for, I don't know, 3 to 5 years.
Very well. Right.
But it was just like on the side.
Yeah.
So I was working 7 days a week. You know how that is. I couldn't find anybody on that path that I could trust fully to do the work like I would do the work, have the pride in, doing that. So I started focusing more on the management position. And at the dealership that I was at that time in 2018, we had an opening for a service manager position. And I put in for that. The service director was all for it because he knew me from 2005 when I started. He'd been there. The general manager of the entire dealership didn't think I was the right look for that desk job.
He didn't like your Fabio locks?
I don't know, man. That's what I told him. I was like, it's just hair. I can shave my face and cut my hair. I don't care. But they were looking for a different kind of person. And then in the end, they ended up making a deal with the current manager to stay. And then I tried to make a deal with her to be the parts manager because we really needed help in that section. Because our parts manager at the time was a younger kid, he didn't know much of the job or much of cars at all. So he had some issues trying to keep it afloat, and I helped as a technician. I was like, look, I'm already doing half his job. We can, do this or whatever. And then it was, okay, yeah, we'll do that at this time.
Yeah.
Okay. That time's up. Where are we at with that? We're going to do it at this time. We're going to shoot for this time. Okay.
This is such a critical timeline to kind of crunch down because, again, you're not there anymore and you've taken other steps in your life. But I've met the person that stayed in that world forever. It's very real. So what ended up pulling you out of that and moving you on to the next thing? Because I think that's the next thing, right?
A really good friend of mine that I've known for almost 30 years. He's the reason I went back to Hyundai from Honda.
Yeah.
He was the service writer at the Hyundai dealership that I was at. He left and went to another company because he just got tired of dealing with the desk. He came in because he had a flat tire. He was like, dude, you got to check this company out that I'm working for. It's a totally different world.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, yeah.
What interested you about it? Like, how was it described that it was like,
Well,
obviously you had your own stops where you were.
Like 80% of it was I was just fed up with the automotive industry.
It's an important factor.
Step position I was at as master technician was just going to stay there for the rest of forever. Yeah, I wouldn't look at that. And then the other 20% is, he was there and he's like, dude, the people I work with are great. And it's a small company, there's only like 30 employees or 60 employees, something like that,
Yeah.
So I'll check it out.
And what was it?
Biorefining.
Yeah.
Turning corn into alcohol for cars to burn and go fast. So it was, similar in what I was already doing.
Sure.
And very mechanical, but now, I know for me, like I entered into that in an industrial context, which was far different than anything I had ever experienced before. There's rotating equipment, there's things that connect,
absolutely.
but like, what the plant life looks like, the shift work, that kind of stuff. So talk about the value Poet brought to your current skilled trade. Like, how did that timeline of things happen so that we can get us to where you are today, basically?
I started there at in the maintenance department because I was like, that's going to be my easiest in there is in the maintenance department because nuts and bolts, it's all adult Legos, just things are bigger there. And I realized in an industrial setting, there's such a thing as overtime. I just worked all the overtime and grew my annual income to be able to start growing the family even farther.
Yeah.
And
there was the plant life, and it ended up getting you actually plucked out of just like the ethanol industry, which I don't mean to say like just but all I mean is that you got a license out of this,
yeah,
and it wasn't directly at Poet, but you had some exposure to it at that time.
yeah. I knew the licensure was a thing. I moved from maintenance into operations because I was working on things. I knew the nuts and bolts. I didn't know what it did though.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know what it did. So I went over to operations to find out what it did, run the stuff. And these guys are talking, oh, you get stupid salary bump for just having a license to deal with these boilers, and don't touch them unless you have that license. Okay.
Yeah.
So I started looking into that and wanted them to, everybody said, you got to go to this Steamworks class. And I'm like, okay, yeah. When are you going to send me to Steamworks? And they're like, once again, we're shooting for this date.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, we're going to send these guys. You'll get it next time. Next time's around. Okay. I didn't say anything at that point at this, I've already been through that walk before. So I just started looking around, and I had friends that had already gone to Abbott Nutrition.
Yeah.
And I was going to make $10 more an hour than what I made at Poet as an entry-level apprentice at Abbott Nutrition for boiler operation.
Yeah.
Without a license, and they were headset. No, we're going to send you. It's going to be this day.
Yeah.
It's already set up. It's paid for. Okay, let's do it.
And now what does it look like? Now you have your license, you're at Abbott, you're working. What's your day-to-day look like pretty much over there?
I mean, it's pretty quiet. I watch numbers, make sure the chemical barrels are, and that's another thing I was looking for. I was getting towards 40. I'm 40 now. And I was like, I need something that I'm not going to beat myself up with for the rest, for the other, 20 years I got left on allegedly working.
I'll probably work till I die, but
You will.
I was like, I need something that I'm not going to beat myself up with.
Yeah.
And this seemed to be it.
And make a decent wage.
And make, 6 figures.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was my exposure to it too. Just like I didn't imagine that was the kind of work, just in the skilled trades, I assumed that it was going to be always hot and sweaty and dirty and regretful kind of work. And I was super wrong about it. And I mean, there's days, there's moments, work is work, I think is how I would describe it. I don't always want to get up at 4 a.m. and get over to the shift or whatever. And certainly, on swings, you didn't want to go at night either sometimes, but that's, in a cubicle or in the industrial plant, there's some things that we just don't want to do, but it did bring me stability for sure, and options. And one of the things that I enjoy about your story is that you're no longer connected to the automotive world in the same way that you once were dependent on it,
Yeah, absolutely.
but you still have a good connection to it, but it's different now. Can you speak to that?
I can still do everything in my power with the tools that I have to fix my car, my wife's car, my kids' cars. And then, if I don't have the equipment to do it, I can go take it to the dealership. I can afford to take it to the dealership. And I'm not going to get fleeced when I walk through the door because I know what I'm talking about and I know what they're talking about back behind there, So it's been great because I can just go in and chat with the guys like I used to and then leave and not have to deal with the other customers or cars that are rusty.
Sometimes there's a disconnection. I mean, between if you do what you love, it feels like eventually you'll hate it. That's not always true,
That's what happened to me, yeah.
but I saw that. It actually protected me once in my life by accident because I got caught up in the skilled trades. But there was a period of time when I really liked brewing beer, We had friends over, it like became an event, different recipes, we did that for years. And during a period of like transitional change in career, I was thinking like, man, wouldn't it be great to have a brewery? And that was kind of a lot of talk at the time. And as I look back, and I'm very glad that many people have done it, to be clear, but like I'm really glad I didn't, because I think what would have happened is that you just end up making the same stuff over again and over again, and then the business end of it ends up ruining the hobby end of it. And so like boilers have been a great fit for me because I grew a passion for it. It didn't start as a passion, but now I can honestly say like I dig it, but it has this little compartment where it's like, yeah, but it's not like my hobby. It's like what I do, and I like it, I enjoy it, I'm good at it. Like I want to get better at it, but it ain't, like what brewing beer to me was. And I kind of connect with you in that story in that way, that like, give me an overview of like, what are you driving now? What are the projects that you're doing? Like you can brag about it a little bit.
Yeah, so I got fed up with the technician. Like technicians' cars are always the last cars to get worked on.
Yeah, right.
So I still had a slew of those.
Yeah.
And while I was at Poet, I had some time off and took the kids check out the falls and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was in my wife's Odyssey, and it broke down on us while we were up here. It developed a misfire, and I was luckily enough, knowledgeable enough to fix it in a parking lot, but it was an inconvenience. And I thought about it, and I was like, if this was my wife here, like whatever I was doing would have stopped, or I had to pay a ridiculous tow bill to get her back. And then, so I was like, okay, her car is not up to snuff for what I would be comfortable her driving extended period. So I was like, okay, can we afford new cars? And she did all the numbers and was like, yeah, I think so. I said, okay, well, find out what you want. And we looked at cars, and I bought her a 17 Civic EX. And I said, I can fix everything on this except for the rear brakes, because I don't have the computer anymore to reset your rear brakes. But she absolutely loves that car. And then I was like, I'm not sure. I had a list of what cars that I wanted, and I couldn't find any of them, obviously.
Yeah.
Finally, when you released yourself to maybe buy one, they're not there anymore. Yeah.
Well, because I wanted a manual transmission, and that's not a thing much anymore.
Really.
So I don't know. I feel more connected to the car with manual transmission than automatic. So I had a list of cars. I had obviously buddies still in the dealership scene, so I gave each one of them my list. And I had one of them get back to me and was like, hey, I hate to give somebody else, your business, but this 24 Civic Si just got on the lot over at Matthews. And I was like, okay, I'll go look at it.
Yeah.
And it was the blue a Civic Si should be. And I was like, man. And it was brand new. So I started researching, and I always wanted an Audi too, but I never wanted to work on them because they're horrible and everything's expensive for them. It had like Audi-esque features to it. So I was like, okay.
It's a slick looking car.
It is. I looked at used ones because I knew the depreciation value of a car when you buy it new. Well, new one was $32,000. Used one was $29,000 to $30,000. I was like, I'm just going to buy a new one.
Yeah.
At that rate. So I went in the next day and talked to a buddy of mine that was a salesman over there. And I was like, man, I don't know. 30, after, all the paperwork goes through, it's like 35, 36,000.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. And I'm texting my wife at the same time because she's like, are you looking at cars? Yeah. I said, I'm looking at one. I don't know. She's like, don't settle. I was like, done.
That was the green light you needed, right?
So
I bought a 2024 Civic Si, and it's been fantastic ever since.
I love it.
Absolutely fantastic. I love every minute of being in that car. This 2.5 hour drive that didn't even seem like 2.5 hours. Just enjoying it. The seat position, everything, the transmission, it's just great.
I'm thankful for your story because you worked hard.
Yeah.
It does highlight, I think, that hard work can pay off. It can bring stability. Looking at the next generation coming in, do you feel like there's some notes or some thoughts that you might have to help us close this time that would encourage them into the skilled trades?
Well, I think it's already happening.
Yeah.
My oldest son just graduated. Yeah. And his high school class was 192 kids.
Yeah.
And it was like half of the Coliseum where we live. He also went to the same career center that I went to for automotive. He went for IT, computer stuff. Yeah. So he's certified.
Coding and stuff like that, maybe?
Not coding, but like, the mechanical parts.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
See,
I don't even know.
networking.
I mean, like
Networking.
Yeah.
But he is certified in fiber optics, and they had a separate graduation for that career center. When I went to that career center, there was no separate graduation. It was like these kids, they're graduating, but it was all through what they called your home school. So we just had one, but they had a graduation this year, and there were like, I don't know, 350 kids that graduated from the career center, and only 192 that graduated from the actual high school.
Wow.
But the career center encompasses several schools in the area, but there's a lot of kids out there going through trade schools.
I love it. Yeah, it's not, you don't have to be a revolutionary to decide that you're going to go into skilled trades, like that's what it felt like, I think, for, if you're looking back a couple of decades ago, like to choose it, you were like an oddball to choose it. But the story here and what you're trying to describe is tremendous. To
give you context a little further, when I graduated high school in 2003, we had over 400 kids in my high school class graduate.
That's shifting.
It is.
That's good news, man, because we really need it a lot. The amount of people today needed in the skilled trades is said so much, but it has to be repeated. Stories like yours have to be elevated so that more people can say it's not just a newsworthy piece of article, right? Yeah, change needs to happen. People need to commit, and hope can really be had. Joy can really be experienced, certainly. Well, thank you. Appreciate your time and sharing your story.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thanks for watching our video. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to like and subscribe us on our channels. And if you want to continue the conversation to find out if there's a skilled trade that's built for your future career, be sure to pick up our book called Skill Stigma at skillstigma.com.